Look at this. Bernabeu. June 2019. 50,000 people. White confetti falling like snow. Eden Hazard lifting the Real Madrid shirt for the first time. The noise is unreal. This is the moment Zinedine Zidane spent 6 years building toward. Hazard never scored more than 4 goals in a season at Real Madrid. Zidane was gone within 2 years, and the dream, the one Zidane had been talking about since 2013, collapsed so quietly that most people didn't even notice it happening. This is the story of how. To understand why this hurt, you have to go back. Not 2019, much earlier than that. Zidane was not a man who gave praise easily, guarded, controlled, economical with words. He didn't do interviews where he gushed about other players. He didn't throw compliments around to fill silence. But ask him about Eden Hazard. Any interview, any year, anywhere between 2012 and 2019, and something shifted in him. The answer was always the same. Always Hazard, not Neymar, not Lewandowski, not De Bruyne, not Müller, not anyone else in a generation full of extraordinary players. Hazard, every time. And if you only look at the surface, maybe that makes sense. Hazard was brilliant, everyone knew that. But Zidane's obsession ran deeper than appreciation. He recognized something. Go back to Hazard at Lille, 17 years old, already doing things to defenders that didn't seem physically possible. Not power, not pace, control. The ball attached to his foot like it had nowhere else to be. Then Chelsea, 6 seasons, 2 Premier League titles. A player who, when he was at his absolute peak, made the best defenders in the world look like they were playing a different sport. And here's the thing about how Hazard played. He didn't look like he was trying. That sounds like a criticism. It isn't. It's the rarest thing in football. Most elite players play with visible effort. You see the strain, the urgency, the desperation behind every touch. Hazard played like the game was obvious to him, like the gaps were always there and he was just walking through them. That is what Zidane saw, not just the ability, the philosophy. Because Zidane had played the same way, that same ease, that same inevitability, the belief that football at its best shouldn't look like work. It should look like water finding its way downhill. Zidane didn't want Hazard because he was the most dominant player available. He wanted him because Hazard was the only player on the planet who played the game the way Zidane believed it should be played. For 6 years, Hazard was the answer Zidane kept giving to a question nobody had asked him yet. Then, in the space of a few months, everything changed. May 2018, Zidane resigns from Real Madrid. Not after a bad season, not after a collapse or a crisis, after winning his 3rd straight Champions League at the absolute peak. He just walks away. Nobody understands it. The press is confused. The fans are stunned. Even people close to him don't fully get it. Then 6 weeks later, Ronaldo leaves. A decade, 4 Ballon d'Ors, over 450 goals. The man who was Real Madrid for a generation, gone to Juventus in the summer, and the club just doesn't know who it is anymore. The replacements don't work. Lopetegui lasts 11 weeks. Solari follows. Same result. 3 managers in a single season. The football is bad. The mood is worse. The Bernabeu, one of the most intimidating atmospheres in world football, starts feeling like a place where confidence goes to die. And then Zidane comes back, March 2019.
But we start in the Spanish capital. Santi Solari sacked as Real Madrid coach today. Zinedine Zidane is back in charge of the club, signing a contract until 2022.
The board calls, he answers, and he doesn't return with a revolution. Not a new system, not a squad overhaul. He comes back with one transfer priority. One name, the same name he'd been saying for 6 years, and now the whole picture changes. Because this isn't a manager admiring a player from a distance anymore. This is a man who walked into a broken institution, looked the board in the eye, and said, "Give me Hazard, I'll fix this." He wasn't just signing a player, he was staking his entire vision of what Real Madrid could become on one man's shoulders. June 13th, 2019. He got him. Take a second with this moment. It matters. 100 million euros. The Bernabeu packed to the roof. Hazard walking out in white for the first time, with that grin. You know the one. The grin that always made it look like he knew something you didn't. The media called him the natural heir to Ronaldo. The fans called it the beginning of a new era. And Zidane, the most composed, unreadable man in football, stood in front of the cameras and didn't even try to hide it. This was it. 6 years of the same answer. a 100 million euro bet. An entire second coming built around one signing. Every piece in place. In his first preseason game, Hazard played 30 minutes and pulled up holding his ankle. The dream didn't die in a blaze. It started dissolving almost immediately, so quietly that nobody wanted to say out loud what they were watching. What followed wasn't a disaster. It was something harder to watch than a disaster. It was a slow disappearance. Hazard would come back from injury, and for a few minutes, you'd see it, a touch, a turn, a moment where the real Hazard flickered on, the low center of gravity, the ease, and you'd think, Okay, here we go. This is it. Then he'd pull up again, or he'd fade in the second half, or the rust would settle back around him in real time, right there on the pitch, like watching someone forget a language they used to speak fluently. The injuries weren't even the real story. The injuries were the surface. This is what was underneath. Hazard was never a player built on power or pace. His entire game was built on instinct, on a body that responded without thinking. The touch, the shift, the change of direction, none of it was calculated. It was automatic. And each surgery, each recovery, each long stretch on the treatment table took a little piece of that automaticity away. By the time he came back, he was thinking about things he used to just do. And in football, when you start thinking, you've already lost half a second. And half a second at this level is the difference between everything and nothing. Through all of it, Zidane never stopped defending him. Press conference after press conference, when the Madrid media turned on Hazard, and they did, completely.
A disaster, really, we have to be honest. As good as he is, as promising as he can be sometimes when he played, this is just it's not good enough to miss so many games.
Zidane held the line. Hazard will show you. He just needs time. You'll see what he's capable of. At some point, the loyalty stopped looking like faith and started looking like grief. Like a man who couldn't bring himself to admit that the thing he'd built everything around wasn't going to arrive. And then the numbers came out. 4 seasons at Real Madrid, 100 million euros, 76 appearances, 7 goals. The cruelest part wasn't the stats. It was that everyone, the fans, the press, Zidane, Hazard himself, already knew what those numbers were supposed to look like. Zidane left Real Madrid for the final time in May 2021. Hazard followed in 2023. They left the same way they'd come together, quietly, without the ending either of them deserved. And this is the part where most videos start pointing fingers at Hazard's fitness, his lifestyle, his attitude, at Zidane's management, his decisions, his loyalty becoming a weakness. But blame is too small for what this story actually is. Go back to 2015, 2016. Hazard at Chelsea, the season he was, not arguably, not debatably, genuinely the best player in the world. Not Messi, not Ronaldo, not that year. Hazard, the balance, the acceleration, the authority, a player in complete, total command of his own ability, like everything his body had been building toward had finally arrived at once. Now ask the question, what would that Hazard have done in Zidane's system? That Hazard, peak Hazard, in a team built around his strengths, managed by the one person in football who understood exactly what he was? Don't answer it. Just let it sit there. Because here is what this story is actually about. Not a failed transfer, not a bad investment, a missed conversation. 2 people who spoke the same language, who almost got to use it together, and didn't. Football history is full of great players. It's full of great managers. The ones that haunt you are the combinations that almost happened. Go back to 2013. Zidane, not yet a manager, not yet back at Real Madrid, just a man watching football, watching one player in particular, and someone asks him, if you could sign one player, any player in the world right now, who would it be? Eden Hazard. He didn't say that because Hazard had the best numbers. He said it because Hazard was the truest expression of everything Zidane believed football could be. Not mechanical, not manufactured, alive. He said the same thing in 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 6 years. Same answer. He came back to Real Madrid, a club in crisis, and told them Hazard was the solution. He spent 100 million euros. He waited, he defended, he believed, and the universe, or the body, or the timing, or whatever force governs these things, said no. Zidane finally got his player. He just never got to find out what his player could have been.